how the words, of myself I am nothing, the Father doeth the works, began to carry bright promise and meaning. That's out of the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 75. When I put the seventh step into action, I must remember that there are no blanks to fill in. It doesn't say humbly asked him to fill in the blank, remove our shortcomings. For years, I filled in the imaginary blank with help me, give me the courage to, give me the strength, etc. The step says simply that God will remove my shortcomings. The only footwork I must do is humbly ask, which for me means asking with the knowledge that of myself I am nothing. The Father within doeth the works. It's fascinating. I was talking, again, I'm an alcoholic. I was talking to my sponsor before the meeting. I love him dearly. And, I didn't even create myself. So reality. I didn't choose to be born. I didn't choose my parents. I didn't choose where I was born. There were so many things I didn't even choose. So what really, I don't have anything to do with that. Now, God has given me you guys, right? If I want to stay sober, He's given me a program. So I have to get up and do all what we do, get ready for the day, click on there. I have to ask people for help. I have to humble myself. It says humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. So that's the first step of removing my pride, is asking Him, you, right? And that's, I've told my sponsor, right now I want to be authentic, right? I want to be an authentic person, real, right? Vulnerable. And I can be that with you guys, right? And so there's a lot of freedom in that. To thine own self be true. I love that saying that we have. And it's free. I've been a people pleaser, and that doesn't work. All right? I'm not supposed to fear man. What can men do to me? All right? But God, I respect God. He has all power in my life. That's all I've got. Let's open the meeting up. So I'm going to click on you guys so I can see everybody now. And that's what I got out of that. And I'd like to hear my friend Julie M. in Fort Worth, Texas.
Hi, Reed. I'm Julie. I'm an alcoholic. It's good to see you, Sharon. I'm really happy to see you taking that spot. It's good. I really like this. The whole idea, sometimes I forget that step 7, I don't do it myself. I think of a character defect that I'm struggling with, and I think, man, I got to not do that anymore. I got to not do that anymore, instead of thinking, oh, I got to ask God to remove it, And I have an example, and one of them is, it's with drinking, I was so humbled from being a blackout drinker and just being so humbled by the stuff that I'd done in the place that alcohol brought me. When I came in, I was really ready for anything, ready to do anything. Just make me, make it better, please make it better. But, then as time goes on, then these other character defects don't seem to be as bad, but they're, so one of the examples is, I was having road rage pretty bad, and I don't know where y'all are from, but in the Metroplex in Dallas-Fort Worth area, I live on the very edge of country, and I've been in this house for almost 20 years, and there was nothing, there was pastures, and now they built a housing development with 1,000 houses, and just on the news, they're putting another 1,400 acres over there. And my road was a country road, and now it's got people going by 70 miles an hour. So I'm getting twisted a little bit up with that. And so yesterday I was on the back porch just, praying, God, I can't go there every time I see someone speed by. I can write letters to the city and have them put in something, and I'll do that. I've already done something similar, that they put up a slow sign, which has made no difference. But instead of getting twisted up, I can ask God to remove that anger, resentment, and He has done it before with road rage driving, because because I used to get on the road and there's just so many more people. I'd be like, fuck you and fuck you and fuck you too. And, you know, even if I wasn't saying it, I was thinking it. And I mean, I just had such a, you know, angry attitude towards every single person around me that passed me and everything. And I asked God to remove that from me, and it was lifted. And really, I'm talking, it is really a miracle in that instance, because it was completely gone. I could get out in the middle of traffic and not be like that. Every now and then it rears its ugly head again, you know, when somebody cuts me off or something, and I start to get, you know, cussy or whatever, and I was like, I don't want to go back there. I can't live like that every day, having to travel around, you know, and be so angry and ugly. And, you know, again, for the most part, it has been removed. But there's, you know, nobody's perfect. We all are going to have shortcomings. And, you know, I just had to work through something with my sponsor. So that's kind of a good reason that the steps are in order, because I had to do a fourth and fifth. And, you know, some of this shortcomings kind of showed up, and something I didn't even see. And it was, you know, had to do with a coworker. But, you know, the program really does work if I give it a chance, and if I remember that I'm doing it, is where it says, of myself I am nothing, the Father doeth the works. And there's a kind of a praise song I like, and it says, if God is on our side, who can be against us? If God is on our side, we won't be afraid. When I get really twisted up, I'll listen to that kind of praise music, and then that helps me focus on the solution instead of the problem. The problem is me here. The solution is not me, it's God, and is, you know, living in gratitude and just trying to be of service. Anyways, I think I'm rambling now, but good topic. Thanks. Have a good day, you guys.
Sorry about that. Julie, thank you so much. I love your wisdom, and thank you. You've helped me a lot. And we're going to go to a gentleman right now, and he's a good friend of mine, and I haven't talked to him in a while. His name's Philip.
Hey, Reed, man, it's really good to see you on there. Looking good, man. It's good to see everybody. I'm Philip. I'm alcoholic. I'm glad to be here on a Monday. Thankful, grateful to be sober. I was reading the morning, reflections today and talking about step 7, and I was thinking about that, and then I've been thinking about some things that have been happening to me here in the last day or so. And I had I was at the noon meeting yesterday, and it was enjoying hearing the speaker talk, and he went through a lot of tragedy in his life, a lot of death, and then I've been going through some death too. I had a good friend, I say a good friend, a friend of mine that I've known since way back since elementary school, and he was in an accident, in a heavy equipment accident. I guess he got hurt pretty bad and doing it on heavy equipment. He got on painkillers, and then he wanted to get off the painkillers, and then he started drinking really bad to try to, take the pain away, and going through a lot of mental trauma. And then I got a notice last week that he'd been up here in Dallas. He's from Abilene. He'd been up here in Dallas area, and he ended up shooting himself. And so he's gone. And but alcohol was a big contributor, to what was going on there. And this guy was an all-star athlete. I mean, he was one of the best in the world. He was best in our school. He had the world. He had the world by the balls, coming out of high school. And he was a really great athlete and real funny, real energetic guy. And so I just got off the phone here talking about a memorial service, and I'm going back for this weekend. And I mean, it's sad, it's tragic, but at the same time, I'm going to get to see friends and people there, and we'll get to celebrate his life moving forward. But I mean, that's just kind of the ebb and flow, the ups and downs of life. And it's so sad, because I had no idea that he was suffering like that. I had no idea what he was going through. And I mean, it could happen to anybody at any time. And so it's a cunning, baffling situation, disease here. And and then on the flip side, I got a message that my cousin is getting married, in October. So it's kind of like, we got a funeral, we got a wedding deal to go to, and then I'm getting married too. So I mean, we have all these these ebb and flows of things. So anyway, I'm glad to be here and glad to see you, Reed, and glad to see everybody. And have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. I appreciate that. I used to stay away from AA because I lost so many friends to suicide in AA. And I didn't look at it correctly. I used that as an excuse not to come. Not smart on my part. Okay, how about Sherry? Miss Sherry.
Thanks, Reed. I'm Sherry. I'm an alcoholic. Congratulations. I hope it's a great wedding. I hope it lasts for many years. I'm getting real close to 50. We have 49 this December. So, and how it worked that many years, I don't know. Good topic for me today because I am in fear. And when I get in fear, it comes out as anger. Tomorrow, my adult children will start moving in. It's Jeremy and his wife, Bernie. Jenna, the daughter, she's bonus. She's my bonus granddaughter, is still in Del Rio, so it'll be 2 weeks before she comes. And I'm not really sure what I'm afraid of. A couple of years ago, they were here for 2 weeks, and I loved it. Maybe it was 3 years ago, she had surgery, and they stayed here till she recovered, and everything was fine. So why I am in fear right now, I don't know. I told Jeremy they could stay until December. I wanted them out by then, and he said that's fair enough. But, what if? Well, don't go there, Sherry. Anyway, I'm in fear. So any guidance anyone has to bring me down from this fear, such as telling me to be humble, telling me to give it to my higher power, will be helpful. Because you may be hearing a lot of whining from me. I hope I don't whine. I hope I stay in the problem. But I'm scared, and I don't know what I'm scared of. So thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Sherry. Appreciate your honesty. Mr. Jose, if you would like to share, the floor is yours.
Jose Alcoholic, thank you for calling on me, and an interesting reading. I'm one of those people that they ask me, you want your character defect removed? I say, take them all. My character defect, all they did is cause trouble for me, all of it. So I didn't want any of it. Whoever wanted to take them, I'm fine. I wish I could tell you after 35 years in the program that they're gone. They're dormant. Every time I'm in fear, they come back. And so my battle is not with the character defect, with fear. And has all my fear been removed? No. They go. It's a lot better. I used to be full of fear, so it's not all fear, but it comes back. And so I maybe there's a higher power in me or whatever takes them away, but I have to work at it as well. It's not a one person. One of my worst character defects was lying. I lied for no reason at all when I was drinking. I don't know even why I lied. And somebody told me, stop lying. And sometimes that requires for me to be quiet. So I don't say anything. Because if I'm in fear and the life resolves a problem, I am tempted to do it. So I'll be quiet. So I have learned techniques to basically ameliorate, but it's I believe, at least for me, it's a continuous improvement program. It doesn't happen overnight, and I'm a lot better than I used to be. I'm not as good as I should to be, but it's getting better every day. So I will continue to continue.
Thank you so much, Jose. I appreciate that. Miss Rosalie, I would like to hear from you, please. If you can. Oh, there you are.
I'm chewing my food.
Okay, that's all right.
Thank you.
We'll come back to you. All righty. Miss Mary Beth, the truly genuine alcoholic.
Hey, thank you for calling on me, Reed. Mary Beth, genuine alcoholic. I don't know. Shortcomings. Yeah, I think I've said this before, but since I retired, I've gotten some more character defects of putting things off. And so it's kind of good that I recognize it because, I can easily deal with it, it's like, getting sober, when you realize you have a problem. So, yeah, that's what happened to me. And I don't know, sometimes it's when you get to be my age, and you're like, think you can do everything, but then when you're younger, but you can't. You have to ask for help. That's not a good thing, but you have to do it. Anyway, that's not a very brilliant share, but thank you anyway. Thank you for helping me with my sobriety today.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Actually, I got a lot out of that. I appreciate that. And I'd like to hear from my friend from New Jersey, and his name's Jonathan.
How you doing, Jonathan, alcoholic addict? Is there a topic?
Yeah, we read the daily reflection and humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. And, it espoused a little bit more on it, but just whatever you'd like to share. You've been going through a lot, so whatever's on your heart, feel free to share.
Well, Jonathan, alcoholic addict, I think I just made a fool out of myself, but I do that kind of regular. I was at a meeting right before this, and people were sharing, and this one guy shared like two people before me, and it was about he said something. He was talking about abuse, and he said abusers don't know what they're doing. And for those of y'all who are, I guess, young enough or whatever to remember, there was this Marvel comic book called The Fantastic Four. And one of the people in that was the Human Torch. And he would say, flame on, he'd turn the fire and just run out and set everything on fire. Well, that's what happened to me this particular set. I was abused as a child, sexually abused as a child by a couple of different ladies. And I know it sounds like a X-rated novel, doesn't it? But and then he said that thing abusers don't know, and I do. They know. It's not if they tell you don't tell nobody, they know. I've never played football and told my teammates don't tell nobody. I've never played tag and told somebody don't tell nobody. And I said this, and I apologized, and I said, like, I'm not talking at you, but just, this one part, it just set my head on fire. I get tired of people saying abusers don't know. It's like, no one sexually abuses another person and don't know. You know. At least I think that. I could be wrong as two left shoes. But, and after the meetings, I realized I was an asshole, and as soon as Our Father was finished, I jumped in because I wanted to apologize to him and tell him I wasn't talking at him. I wanted to apologize while the same people were there that heard me flip out. Obviously I'm not back to earth yet, so but I wanted to tell somebody else, this is one of them things where I could just turn to Mary Ann. She'd be sitting right over there. I got nobody like that now, you know. I don't have any friends like that, you know. And I told you my sponsor did something and we're not sponsor. We don't even talk anymore, you know. I got to work on that, you know, because I'm feeling he betrayed me. He didn't do nothing to me. He did what he needed to do for him, you know. But I'm doing less good than I thought I was, you know. I got a new sponsor a couple of weeks ago. I guess I got to call him up, tell him I'm an asshole, like he doesn't already know that. And I'll stay sober today. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. I appreciate your share. I really do. And our friend Michael has his hand up, so feel free to share, Michael.
Good evening. Michael Anthony, marijuana addict and allergic to alcohol. Been in and out of AA since I was 18 years old, and now I'm 58. And next month I'll be 59. And I haven't had a day of sobriety since May 20th, 2 years ago. I was sober for 10 days. And so it's been a long time since I've even considered getting sober. But a lot has happened in those short period of time, you know, and a lot of ups and downs and a lot of questions of sanity and behavior and volatility. And so I've come here, you know, peeking through the window, you know, trying to sneak in to see what it's like on the other side of lawlessness. I would guess it would be the other side of lawlessness. And so we come to these thresholds in our lives, man, that are just so bitter and so ruthlessly revealing that, you know, I do want to hide from myself. That would be nice if I could hide from me. And there's a saying of some sort somewhere about, you know, dying to self. And it's like myself, man, has become so jaded, wicked, malicious, vindictive, and you know, I'm waiting for the big dynamite to just go boom. And that ain't gonna be good for me nor anyone else, man. I'm the vigilante justice in my neighborhood, where, you know, where things are going on late at night when everybody's asleep, man. I go out with my slingshot and I start shooting at people and at cars, and it's I'm really there, man, in some militarized zone of my own war zone that I've made up in my head that's very real in my life. And I've had a forever fiance that I ordered on pay-per-view, and she's been with me for about 16 months now, and she's about at her wit's end with my behavior. And she's much more younger than me. She's 20 years younger than me, and she's 20 years more mature than me. And so, I don't know, there's a lot going on, but a lot has to do with, you know, my unwillingness to get sober, man. My unwillingness to believe it's possible. My unwillingness to just, you know, defile belligerently, you know, the sky is purple, the sky is purple. Thanks for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. If you'd like a desire chip, you know, if you want to stay sober today, we can tell you how to do that. You know, a lot of us are sober today. So I appreciate you being here. And you don't have to drink if you don't want to drink. And Just appreciate your share. We try to find a nice lady. How about Gail? How about my friend Gail?
Thank you, Reed. Good to see you. My name's Gail. I'm an alcoholic. And I came in just a little bit late, so we're talking about the daily reflection today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I certainly have a lot of defects of character, you know, and amongst them is impatience. You know, I want things to change, and it doesn't change. You know, I've been granted a lesson in acceptance that I never really volunteered for, but here it is. And you know, it said that in the reading this morning that what we have to do is humbly ask. And I can say those words. It's my attitude behind it, you know, that maybe isn't so humble. You know, I can say the words, you know, God deliver me from my shortcomings. But what I'm thinking is, you know, I want you to take this shit away. I'm tired of it. You know, so at this point, what I'm really looking at is not so much being willing to ask God, but what am I willing to do about it? You know, in fact, I have this little plaque sitting on my desk right in front of me that my sponsor gave it to me for one of my birthdays, and it says, "Have you prayed about it?" So I turned it over and wrote on the back side of it, "What have you done about it?" Because, you know, I can sit here and pray about it and keep doing the same thing, getting the same results. But if I'm going to pray about it, then I need to listen to what God wants me to do and do that to the very best of my ability today. And quit getting frustrated and anxious and all that kind of stuff when, you know, it doesn't work out the way I want it to, because obviously I'm not doing it according to God's will, or it would happen. And that's what I've got today. Thanks, Reed.
Thank you so much, Gil. It's great to see you. I have a lot of friends at the harbor in person that I'm going to get to see. If I stay sober today, maybe one day I'll go back and give my friends a hug. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go from Rosalie to William to Sheila. They all have their hands up. And so, Rosalie, go ahead, ma'am. Thank you.
Y'all, I'm Rosalie. I'm a grateful alcoholic. Well, my sobriety date is still 12/26/2020, and I'm keeping it. Y'all, thank God for good friends. Thank God for all of the people on here, like my friend Jonathan. I get to. He sends like these beautiful messages, and I was so sick again last night. I don't know what I ate, and like you just said, careful what we pray for, we just might get it. So I have this wonderful husband who's doing his step work, helping me out, but then he said, "You're lying, you ain't sick." And I'm like, no, I'm really feeling like I want to vomit. Like I know my body today. And I said, I just like, my stomach hurts. And it was so cool because I have this kid. I just told y'all when Reed called on me, he said, "Oh, like Rosalie." And I said, "I'm eating right now." Y'all, I went and I bought myself some Maruchan, cup of noodles, and some crackers. And I know that I told my son, and I must tell y'all that the strength that y'all give me, this is my medicine. I take my 7 a.m. and my noon Zoom medicine, and my son is here from school. I mean, they haven't went back to school, and I'm like, dude, don't you know? And then I had to pause and automatically say, dude, I go, dude, I'm not feeling good. He goes, you always do this. You're always on your meeting. You can't. I go, yeah, this is my medicine. I need it. I need to hear. So I stay. If they call me, it was so funny because I'm like, if they call on me, I need to know what the topic is. So I don't look like a scatterbrain. But the only footwork I must do is humbly ask, which means asking with the knowledge that of myself, I am nothing. The Father within. Let me tell y'all, when I told my son, just get out of here. And then I said, I apologize. He goes, I know, you're always. Then I said, dude, I want you to know mommy's feeling sick and I need to get better, but I need you all are my medicine. And I want to tell y'all, I love this specific meeting. I'm so grateful that if I vomit, I know that I'm sober and I know that there is a solution. I said, I don't know which way it wants to come out, but I will tell you, I told my son when I got out of work, have the water ready. And I said, because I don't want to stop and get Pepto Bismol. I want to just let it release, whatever it is. I'm just grateful that I'm sober. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you, Rosalie. Mr. William, you're next, sir.
Okay, I am William. I am an alcoholic. This is a wonderful reading, and I have never had a fill in the blank. I've never read it that way because we ourselves, like it says down at the end, we ourselves are nothing, and we're not going to be the power that removes our shortcomings. We are going to have to rely on God to do that, like Julie said earlier. And when you do that, though, there is a caveat. You have to have the faith. You have to believe it's going to happen. Because if you don't have faith, you don't believe it's going to happen, it's not going to happen. Right now, I'm dealing with another addiction, nicotine. And I am addicted. And I have got to get off of it. I don't have any signs of cancer or any real serious problems with my lungs. The problem I have, so the doctor really things that happened to me during my years in the Army. But the smoking certainly doesn't help. It's a contributing factor. And so I am at a point here where today I have to make that decision to humbly ask God to remove that shortcoming. And like with the alcohol, have to believe that it is going to happen. And so let the Father do the work, but you have to have the faith that it will happen. And if you do, it will happen. Not maybe, it will happen. So have the faith and have humbly ask. Thank you very much. I'm William.
Thank you,
I
William.
am an alcoholic.
Thank you, William. Appreciate that a lot. Don't want to crosstalk, but I can relate to that addiction, and it's a booger. It can be accomplished. Sheila, I'd love to hear from you, ma'am.
Thanks, Reed. Thanks for sharing. You look good sober. I'm Sheila, and I'm an alcoholic. And removing my shortcomings. I say this in meetings all the time, and it's true that I still have all the warmth and charm of a cornered rattlesnake, but working the steps is taking a lot of venom out. I don't. There are character defects. You're thinking back on it. There are character defects that I just went all in on that I just don't do anymore. It's like my sponsor said when I was giving her little samples of of things that were in my 4th step, and she just blurted out, "Oh my God, how are you going to make amends for that?" And then, just don't do that anymore. And so, there are things that I just don't do anymore that just don't have any appeal for me anymore. I don't. Well, for one thing, I don't lie awake at night plotting revenge on people. That takes up too much time. I could be chasing dead ancestors or something like that, something fun. I could be going on a cruise or going to the casino instead of plotting revenge on somebody. And sometimes I think that the AA higher power keeps me around just as an example of, it doesn't matter how antisocial you are, you can still get sober in AA. You can still make friends. I have friends in this program, and I have friends outside of the program that I've made, friends that I've made from my genealogy addiction that I found after I got sober. Of course, my friend Anita
defects
got a
and I
wild
indulge in
animal,
plotting
so there goes
revenge,
my
growing
prison buddy. But
antisocial
I've got friends,
friends.
and
I don't have many friends. Not many.
and I'm not as bad as I was. I'm still not a good person.
And I'm still bad
if you
enough not to
want
have
to get an
friends.
idea of what I mean about quartered rattlesnakes, the other day I went to YouTube and I Googled cornered rattlesnakes, and I was laughing my ass off because I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much my personality. But like I said, a lot of the venom is gone. So that's what this step and what this reading means to me. Thanks, Chair. Thanks for talking.
Thank you so much, Sheila. I appreciate you. I learned a lot from you. I appreciate you. Mr. Lee, I'd love to hear from you, sir.
Thanks for letting me share. My name is Lee E, and I'm a real alcoholic. I used to be drunk all the time. I'm a last gasper, straight out of our 12 and 12. But if I could, and when I say I'm a last gasper and a real alcoholic, I drank myself all the way to the bottom. In and out of detox units, in and out of treatment centers, in and out of jail, public intoxication, got thrown in jail in Juarez, Mexico. I'm coming from you today from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I haven't had a drink since 6/23/01. And for that, I'm grateful. I've been sober for a while. And if I could have done it on my own, I'm a bootstrap type guy. I thought that I could get and stay sober on my own, and I can't. Of myself, I am nothing. The Father doeth the works. That's why I turn my will and my life over to the care of God in the mornings with that 3rd step prayer. God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Complete that 3rd step prayer, and I've been given another 24 hours of sobriety. Welcome to the people that are new. We hope that John Barleycorn will convince you. All throughout our book, it talks about being convinced, getting convinced. Nowhere in there does it tell you to stop drinking. As a matter of fact, quite adversely, it tells you if you're not convinced, step over to the nearest bar room. Go get convinced. Do it more than once. What's the big book say? If you're a real alcoholic, it won't take you long to figure this out. So I want to stay convinced of my own predicament. I'm a big book thumper, and I don't apologize for that any more than I apologize for depending upon my Creator. God doeth the work for me. So I'm going to keep coming back. I don't mind being a big book thumper and a 12 and 12 connoisseur. Those are literature. It talks about We beg you, not just we ask you, we beg you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. So I don't know what everybody needs in here. I don't know what the newcomer needs, but we hope that you've hit bottom, and our big book talks about, or the 12 and 12 talks about, why all this insistence that every AA newcomer must hit bottom. Because if you haven't hit bottom, you're probably going to do the same thing over and over and over again. And I like that psychic change. I'll end with this. I like when it talks about that psychic change. Without that psychic change, there's little hope of your recovery. I like to consider it step zero. Step zero. This shit's gotta stop. You know? So I'm gonna keep coming back. Good to be in the sunlight of the spirit. And I'm gonna keep coming back to AA and carrying an AA message and get fed spiritually by coming to meetings like
in the
this.
New Testament.
Thanks for listening, and thanks for letting me share
the
way too long.
Book of John.
Thank you so much, Lee. You give me a lot of hope. You and Julie and Henry and people that have long-term sobriety, because I'm a real alcoholic. And I pray to God I hit my bottom, because I am desperate.
Sure.
And I would like to hear from a good friend of mine. Her name's Scott.
Hey guys, Sky Alcoholic Addict. Thank you, Reed, for calling on me. Glad to be here. Yeah, when I got to step 7, what I took from that is like I have to stop trying to be my own savior and ask God to do what I cannot. Because I've been trying to do everything on my own for such a long time. I didn't want to rely on God. But for me to even rely on God, I had to have a relationship with a higher power first. And that's why I think the steps are in such perfect order. I was talking about that with a friend today at lunch. It's like, you know, if I fast forward to step 9, I was like, step 9 is in the perfect place, because if I would have done that step 9 before, I would have messed it all up. You know, I had to work the steps in order. And so I do believe, like, you know, you have to find a relationship with your higher power and turn it over and surrender and all that stuff. And I have to be willing to surrender these character defects to God. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I am not willing to turn it over. It is a daily reprieve for me. My brother and sister, I'm house sitting my parents' house in Full Build, and my brother and sister-in-law invited friends over here. They knew I was house sitting. They invited friends over here to go swim and stuff. And in my head, I'm like, do you know how rude you are? Like, just coming in. But I didn't say anything. I just let them be. And then when they leave all this liquor all over the kitchen. You know, all these empty stuff, open stuff. I'm like, and so I had to really pause for a minute, because I'm like, okay, all right, God, how do I need to show up? Am I going to show up how Skylar wants to show up, because that's good to hood? Or am I going to show up how you want me to be? Like, how do you want me to handle this? And I'm not going to lie, I took pictures of everything, and instantly I wanted to send it to my mom and be like, look at this shit. Like, this is so inconsiderate. You know, how rude and, you know, just not kind. And you can't even pick up, even if you forgot to pick up after yourself, they came over later that night and still left it there. You know, I was like, golly. But so I left it there. And I'm like, all right, how do I want to show up? And so the next day, I left it for a day. And then yesterday, you know what? I was like, you know what? I don't want my mom to come home to a mess. You know, this isn't on her. And I'm not going to reach out to her and tell her, hey, I'm doing this, because it doesn't matter. You know, like, I want to be a peacemaker, not a peace faker. You know, I want to do this for me. And she doesn't even have to know this happened. You know, I just want to get it done, clean it up. So I cleaned it up. And I'm glad I did. You know, I probably would have caused trouble in my own mind just to get my mom pissed off at him. I'm like, what's the point of that? You know, that's my character defect. You know, I want to be the good kid now because I am doing right, you know? But in reality, like, you know, I was doing the same things he was back in the day. So I have to just show up who God wants me to be, you know? And I'm very grateful that I get to live this program outside of AA, just outside of these rooms, because it gives me an opportunity to practice this program in all my affairs. You know, if I wasn't getting out there in the world now, I wouldn't be able to practice these, and I'd be like in my bubble. That's how I felt when I was in rehab. I didn't want to leave my bubble. I was safe there. So I love AA because it prepares me for life just outside of the rooms. And, you know, I can practice humbly asking to remove whatever character defects are standing in the way of me being the best child of God that I can be today. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate that very much. And I'd like to hear from the youngest guy in the room. His name's Henry. You might be muted, Henry.
The youngest, really?
Where's ET when you need him?
I'm here.
All right, Henry.
Right
And when you figure it out, let us know. And why don't we go to another gentleman? His name is Ainsley.
Good afternoon, family. I am Ainsley, and I am an alcoholic. This step is an action step for me. It's where I have to be aware. You know, the shortcomings don't disappear as soon as I make a list and say, "Hey, God, take my shortcomings, they're gone." You know, they're still going to crop up when I get fast thinking, you know, talking without thinking through and hearing the words before I say them. You know, shortcomings come up. Me, I'm a doomsday predictor. I automatically think the worst thing that's going to happen is going to happen. You know, I forecast doom as soon as I wake up. I have 3 chronic illnesses, and the first thing I have to do is check my blood sugar and make sure my pacemaker is going the right way, and everything that's out of my control. You know, there's medicine that I have to take, and just like that, everything else with my insulin and my heart medications, I have to go to AA. I have to go to my big book. I have to go to my higher power. You know, I want to look at my ailments first thing in the morning. I want to do that first thing. And for the last 6 months, I've been practicing. Before I do that, I spend 5 minutes thinking of 5 things that I'm grateful for. And that automatically helps me get over that shortcoming of being negative all the way. You know, and that's just one of my shortcomings. And I'm more aware now of more of them as they crop up. And being aware of them allows me to take the action to turn that back over to my higher power. You know, this program has taught me is basically how to get off my ass and be grateful for mediocrity. You know, being grateful for going to the store and being able to go down the bread aisle without turning around and looking at the wine and walking out with just what was on my list. I am grateful for that strength. I'm grateful for being able to go into a restaurant and get my food and not being looking at the next person who has a drink on the table. You know, having the strength to overcome what led me to the bottle and stay out of the bottle, that comes from my higher power and from AA. And I get that every day. Just like I have to take my insulin, I have to take my gratitude, and my higher power gives me the time. But when I don't want to go to a meeting, that's when I need to go to a meeting. You know, and I hear what I have to hear. And I read this daily reflection this morning, and you guys have turned it over to a whole new leaf for me. So thanks for sharing for me and giving me the strength that I need to go through.
Thank you so much, Ainsley. It's good to see you. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of people here, and that's a blessing. And I know that Henry is unmuted now, and so I'm gonna call on my friend Henry.
Well, I hope I'm unmuted. There we go. Thank you very much, Reed, for chairing the meeting today. I hope it does as much good for you as it did for me to chair meetings. I chaired quite a few while I was trying to get sober, and I found that I felt like I needed to prepare for the meeting. So I needed to really study that portion of literature that I wanted to talk about. And it helped me to learn. really enjoy to teach others. And this one, I will say I understand it, but in working the steps, I didn't do a great job jumping from one to the other. I felt like that this is a runway, we'll just take off here and say, okay, come on, big fella, we got some work to do, get rid of these defects of character, and then I'll move on. Well, I needed some help in identifying my defects of character. And I got that from my sponsor. Helped me quite a bit. And let's say, don't be too hard on yourself. All humans, I believe, have some defects of character that they need to work on. And I don't see anything shameful about trying to be more humble, more compassionate, more understanding, more helpful to other human beings. So for me, it was a quick blow by on first reading, but I've returned to it lots of times. And my prayer is simple one: God, please help. And it seems to work for me, and I hope it does, and I hope it works for you if you think you need to use it. And Jonathan, I think you may be a little too hard on yourself right now. You've been through a lot, buddy. I know you have, and I can appreciate the loss that you've suffered. It's a big one. And we love you. Keep coming back. We will forgive and forget anything that you want to throw on us. So keep coming back, Jonathan. Say bye for now.
Thank you so much, Henry. Sorry I couldn't get to everybody. Thank you for letting me share this, you all, and I am getting a lot out of this. And I need you guys desperately for my sobriety, so thank you. And with that, let's close. So I'm going to click on the area to close. Thank you for being patient with my iPad here. Okay. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. We ask who you've seen here and what has been shared here stay here. I'm responsible when anyone, anywhere reaches out for help. I want the hand of AA always to be there, and for that I am responsible. Please feel welcome to unmute for the Lord's Prayer. Who keeps us sober today? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Your kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever.
Amen. Keep coming back.
Coming back works if you work.
You did a great job, Reed. Good job.
Great job, Reed.
Reed,
Reed, you get a new phone?
Great job, Reed. Thank you so much.
No,
Great
I have it fill up. I know where it is. It was last seen because I can track it with my iPad. That's in a locker at the ballpark, and I might be going there today. I better be real patient. I've got my iPad and my watch, but I can only get iMessages. So I message you on Messenger. I'm talking
Okay.
I'm talking to people through Messenger. I can use everything except the Android text messages, right?
Okay. Well, shoot, that's what I got, Android. So I'll contact you on Messenger back then, I guess.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm
man,
praying
thanks.
to God I get that thing back, because you guys know it's hard to live in our society without a phone.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Totally. Hey, Creed, I pray, and I know that it's gonna be there. I think the office
Thank
is
you,
gonna
Rosal.
open it. I believe it will be done. I'll be there at 3:00.
Okay.
I love you guys.
Love you.
Okay. Have a good
Bye,
day.
everybody.
Bye.
Have a blessed day, everybody. Have a blessed day.
All
You
right.
too.
I walk around like a princess. I walk around like a princess. You will die. Oh, he's dead. No fly for green. You will die. Fly. You will die. Well, we've been at this for a long time, haven't we? Wow. Forgot what I got into myself.